What's good, YouTube and Twitch? We're live streaming to both right now with a roundtable on the OCG ban list. It's been the talk of the day. A lot of things happening. Community reactions like Joshua Schmidt with frogs. They banned Toad in the OCG. I hope us frog enjoyers don't need to pay for Splight sins in the TCG. Also, this amazing look at Halqifibrax funeral style setup. Happy Auroradon tokens in the background as he's finally laid to rest. So the Forbidden Section update is Toad, Halq, and Emptiness joining within the TCG and OCG together. Master Duel, its own made-up format at this point with IO, Emptiness, all the Floodgate yeps running around together, and the piece of degeneracy taken out there. So I do want to say, opening up the conversation that Joshua Schmidt points out, a lot of people try to take the interaction between the TCG and OCG ban lists and either throw them out of proportion or argue them into the ground. It automatically opens up, well, Maxie's over here, Mystic Mind's over there, and people trying to split that they have zero interaction when that's just not true. We'll even see further interactions between the lists later, but trying to extrapolate and go ahead is educated guessing at best. You are trying to shoot your shot in the dark of what will happen in future formats, and somebody in stream earlier brought up a very good point that the TCG ban list revolves a lot more around money, and product rather than actual format balancing, because you will see hits in the OCG much faster on certain cards. So sometimes it is a look ahead at how things will be balanced, which is why people are scared of Toad getting hit, banned, taken out back, and separated from each other and thrown into two different backyards. Halq, I think, deserves it. Halq has had so many other cards on the ban list. Similar enablers have ended up on the list permanently here in the TCG, like Electromite. And while there was an era where Link summoning needed to be opened up so old decks could really, play during the Link era, we're no longer there. Decks can play just fine under Master Rule 4.5, and backup plan enablers for Sword Souls, Savage, Herald on so many end boards, being mixed in with engine after engine. Halq's time is here, and Emptiness, degeneracy checked finally. Yo, Maz, you want to tell people why this is? And also, this is a round table, so other people will be joining the conversation. What do you think of the 3 hits starting with Emptiness?
With the Emptiness, that's specifically because I was looking to, it's a added Nister hit because they're playing that Mathmech Allen Burson rank 4, the one that if you have 4 materials, to detach all 4 and you can search any spell attack card from your deck to your hand. So they would search Emptiness and then set it so that Arrival could not get Kaiju.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm actually surprised we don't see more of the Griffin play too, the Minerva Griffin, not Minerva, a Curious Griffin play where you foolish something and set it to with Griffin and the OCG either with all their degenerate cards, but I guess that combo's a lot more choke pointy than this one.
Yeah, because I haven't seen Curious Griffin was played for IO originally, wasn't it?
Yeah, you would be able to dump, also Summon Limit in the other formats where it was Gokis. Toad, I think, is simply for splites. There's no other explanation. It's bounced around the list before, but this time it is straight up splites, not Bahamut or anything else. It is straight up a splite hit.
Toad is for Splight, so is Halq, because comedically, Halq is a Link too, and then it just brings out another level 2 that can be easily used for the Xyz Splight. Super easy.
Yeah, Halq had many reasons. I don't think it's only Splight.
Yeah, because also another thing is, Splight can, Halq can summon a 2-hand like Ash or Ghost Ogre, and you can summon Swap Frog off a Gigantic Splight. Swap Frog bounce back to 2-hand trap to get your additional normal summon.
I think this is a super solid trio to end up on the list, though, for what's happening. A lot of people are saying tier elements are going to, or Tearlaments, however you say it, are going to end up taking over their metagame, tier 0 window, oh no. But we are in an era of effect negation where you have Imperm, you have Dark Ruler no more, you have Droplet, and these cards have universal use against many different cards. Back row deck will still exist too. So we'll see how tier elements truly do fare, but it seems to be where a lot of people are leaning, since Splight will not be as powerful and is missing a huge punch that it had, and Splight will probably still see other variants start to play, but yeah, Toad going is their huge power card. All right, 2-1. Another huge community reaction was Jeff Jones over here waiting for his Farfa retweet. Don't worry, Jeff, I got you. But I saw this on Facebook earlier, like the boomer I am. Vanity's Emptiness going into the bush, Jowgen plus Spellbook coming out. Tons of people arguing that this one has been okay for a long time. I would say it's more recently because Spellbook and Knowledge was interacting with metagames not too long ago. Even True Draco was starting to play a Spellbook engine during a format. Was it TOS format 2019 with the Engage and that stuff? It was crazy, but you see Spellbook of Knowledge change things around, and people were trying to say, well, Ash Blossom exists. Still, you could say that about Painful Choice, Pot of Greed. Ash Blossom existing does not deny the existence of another card of an unsearchable answer. That would be the same as Max C, and people don't say, well, Ash Blossom would stop Max C by itself. Look at No, then you have Crossout Designator, Call by the Grave at 2, and then you also have Ash like in Master Duel. But looking through here, we also have Eva going to 1, and that's, I guess, a hit on Drytron. I'm not too familiar with the other Drytron hits. And the Branded opening going to 1. They're done having Branded run around in the sense that it was, and Branded was doing a lot up until Splight. So it looks like they're trying to balance other things outside of just Splight running around. What do you feel about these limits?
Now with Ava, they still have Carrier, so I actually don't know how that even works because they still have Carrier around.
It's not TOS. No, specifically TJ, I'm talking about the deck during TOS, where people, it was so hurt after, like, because Engage and Sky Striker got hit again and again and again, and then, like, you had the weird combination of the final Sky Striker hits weakening it for a while, where combined with True Draco. That's a very specific time. But I think that is the very end of TOS format, or TOS format ending that I'm talking about, yeah. Eva is, sorry, can you repeat yourself?
No, I said Eva is the first Drytron hit.
That's the first?
They still have 3 Ben 10 and Union Carrier.
Wild. I guess they're just reaching back, and maybe Master Duel is affecting their ban list a little more than their actual metagame for their coverage of balances. I wonder if that's the case. Because, like, Master Duel is our first huge gateway into the game, again, since the anime, and I know that it revitalized an amount of players over there as well, so maybe they're like, I don't want you having to deal with Drytron all the way over here and over there, and that's an interesting mix-in, since it's not, like, any huge representation of Top Cut over there or anything.
Yeah, because the problem with Drytron is Max C, and you don't have enough orange lights all the time to negate Max C in the first place.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Spellbook card coming back? Judgment. I have a ton of these myself.
Judgment, I personally think I'll compare Judgment to multi-roll, and multi-roll is a lot more useful because you can actually you set the cards you get off of multi-roll. While Jowgen, Judgment, the cards stay in your hand, you can't use them. You might just get OTK'd after they negate your Jowgen at the worst case scenario. So I'm like, Judgment could come back, but I actually want to see how it does. Like,
I really do like.
Mix in with.
I like the comparison that you're bringing up. That multi-roll is basically a better version of this card, more searchable. Like, well, the same amount of searchable, kind of in an archetype to a degree, but like then also that its ability to restore the cards versus this. It's an interesting comparison. I feel that this card's power level with Jowgen is not what it once was. We've been dealing with the Wind Barrier statue over and over. There's so many more answers, as we brought up, that have multi-utilities that can take care of a card like that. Between Droplet, Dark Ruler, and the more Imperm, you have so many answers, and it's not just draw the out 5. These cards have utility against other cards to be playing them. It's not like a one-for-one conversation like Mystic Mine is. Now to 2, we have the Flunderfield spell hit. I believe this is a peel-off for Gen X Alley Birdman, as he has some infinite loops, and one of the cards he loops with also going to 3. And then we have the Branded Fusion also getting slapped to 2. So heavy hits on Branded after balancing Toad. Again, I know that before Splight, that Branded was just like taking over basically everything there. And over here in the TCG, it's not even the deck to beat anymore. It's an option. It's a deck among all the Punk Crazy Engine card decks. So crazy how different Maxi does make a difference. But these Branded hits are getting pretty heavy at this point, especially with Tearlaments, Exo Sisters, all the other decks being so powerful. I almost feel like it's maybe overcorrection for the previous format at this point. How do you feel about it?
There was a branded Tearlaments build going out there because some of the builds were since they have grass over there, playing like 60 guard grass piles.
Mm-hmm.
But the decks that weren't playing 60 guard grass piles, they were playing like the branded stuff to be able to dump their Tearlaments stuff at first. In addition to that, I think it was that Halqifibrax because they have a hand trap that's again that turn your window on the opponent's turn. So I think it's more like a Tearlaments hit, like an indirect Tearlaments hit, so not wanting to actually hit the Tearlament cards.
So you're saying they don't want, like, the decks combining. It's being used generally with other decks over there. Okay. The Flunder hit I find a bit odd, because Flunder is so anti-meta-ish, but it is a deck the top pros complain about the most as a, like, matchup. Like, man, I just don't want to play against Flunder. Yet they kind of crap on the deck a lot. Like, imagine playing Flunder, but they get so mad playing it. It's a funny duality to me that basically they don't want people playing Flunder, and they also don't want to play against Flunder. Frustrating matchup for many. I think it's if there is an anti-meta deck in this era, it's Flunder. Not Eldritch, that would be Stun. Anti-meta, Flunder is it. And seeing a hit to it early here, I feel it didn't need it. I feel like it's a bit weird to see that.
Same.
I don't see that happening here in the TCG anytime soon, especially since they have to sell the 2022 Megatens, and Burst of Destiny is going to be in the Megatens. I think it would make sense for them to sell Flunderies.
Yeah, but yeah, okay, let's talk about after they sell it, like down the road. Would there be Flunder hits? I just don't see that happening and translating to the TCG personally, unless like Flunder starts to take way bigger pieces of the pie chart. It's like decks that usually take 3, like Alistair Yep, right? Forever. Alistair would get 3 tops, 3 tops, 3 tops. Like, they wouldn't hit the engine though, so I just don't see that happening for Flunder here. And now to the juicy unlimits. We have good old Harmonizing Magician joining. We have good old toss format. We have Orcust Harpor 2-3 over there. Maximum consistency with Gearsu. Is there anything left on the list for Orcust over there now?
Gearsu and Galatea are at 1.
Ah, that's a huge difference. Yeah, I didn't know their Gearsu was at 1.
But they do have 3 Dark Grepher, which is one thing.
We have Night Assailant errated, so no longer loopy all the way till 3. They also expand their Thunder Dragon engine back a bit. They have Colossus still, remember, and now they have Dark to 3. Lone Fire to 3. Their plant fears are over. Trishula from the TCG translating to the OCG back to 3. Party Boat to 3 for them. I believe their Hunter is banned. We have 3 of the Billy Breaks card, Beginning of the End. He used this in his third win with the Artifact Shadol BA deck. We have Raigeki to 3, finally ending the argument of can it or want it, could it, couldn't it go to 3. It's not that powerful. It's an unsearchable board answer. Yes, it's not hard once per turn. I think it's very balanced and fair, and would be super interesting in this format where people are starting to even tech one over Lightning Storm, because defense position monsters, dodge Lightning Storm, but Raigeki, very, very interesting to see, and I think is pretty balanced in the reaction engine format. Divine Mist Valley, however you say this card, Valley of Mist Valley is what I was trying to say, but this card,
Divine Wind of Mist Valley.
There we go. This card is what is loopy, I believe, with Gen X Ally Birdman. There's no ally. There's no limit or errata that I'm seeing or hearing about with it coming back. I guess we're just not worried about its loops at this point. And they get their Sword Soul Emergence back to 3 as well. I think the most interesting one for overall theory talk is Raigeki here, so let's start with this. How do you all feel about Raigeki?
Honestly, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I think everybody said yes. Good.
Yeah, we're fine with it.
All right, let's talk about Harpor then. A good old toss format in the OCG. They have a piece of all of it back now. Over here, Salad is putting in a lot more work once again. I'm seeing it all over the DB ladder. So, in the window, looking through the rain, in the TCG, we have Orcust and Thunder Dragon, while they're kind of still running about in the OCG. How do you feel about Harpor to 3 with their different checks and balances, of course?
Honestly, I'm over here slightly salty that we don't have 3 harp horror. I can take 1 Gearsu and 3 harp horror because harp horror would allow me to freely get Orcus out of the deck. But no, we don't get that, so it makes me sad.
The any 2 cards equals combo conversation.
I also like to say that having 3 hop horror over here, I think this is just proof that if we do get 3 harp, is that Konami should just release a past format set. So with TOS format, they could include a reprint of hop horror, and they can use it to sell this set some kind of.
I disagree with harp horror being a selling point of a set. I would say you would need much higher level banned cards and certain rarities to sell something like that. You're preaching to the choir on needing a set like that, but I wouldn't say that harp horror would be a selling point of the set.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And Maz, you had something to say?
Yeah, because I'm like, even though like we have to have 3 gears to 3 Galatea, I'm like, the problem with Orcus nowadays is that Orcus is so vulnerable to disruption as normal summon because his normal summon is either going to be Recycler or Gearsu. It's like, it's the one thing you know you're going to hand shot no matter what if you have it, because they can't really extend after that.
And of course, Orcus needing to special summon a good amount in the OCG, having Max C, it's a bit different over there still. But I do feel like Orcus is relatively balanced as an engine. It's basically like more steps to do what Cell already has, but with a Dingirsu play for removal. That's what they got going for them, right?
And also Babel.
And long Gearsu. Yeah, Babel's insane. It's your turn, our turn. But we have other decks that do that at full power, like Flunder at this point.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then throughout here, I would say everything else makes sense. It's some things catching up to the TCG, and it's kind of funny to see that. Right now, the reverse balance of stuff like, we got Trish at 3 first, now they have Trish at 3. Finally, we come around to the point of testing things in the TCG first, and not, like, they don't have Change of Heart, right? Still?
Nope. This Change of Heart's still banned over there.
Yeah, very interesting how TCG has now become test lab for certain cards.
Yeah,
honestly,
no, you go first.
Honestly, in my opinion, I think that TCG is a good testing ground simply because we're over here just like, okay, we will do the crazy stuff. You let us have the crazy stuff. That's all, like in the words of Lithium. If Konami didn't want us to play it, they wouldn't let us have it.
That is funny. I think the only thing, like, what's it called? If they ban, because I've know like a lot of the Yu-Gi YouTubers do like small tournaments and stuff with Hunter and Zenmaity. So even though those are like, Zenmaity should come back at this point because even it's not consistent enough like through hand traps. That's the problem. That's the current problem with Wind Up right now.
Yeah, but you still don't want to encourage hand loop as something in Yu-Gi-Oh! You just, in the game states, don't want to see people getting 0 cards to even 2 cards, or like, you know, it's a bad look to not only not get to play, but have all your cards in front of you in the graveyard.
Also, they had the same argument back in 2012 when the wind-up hand loop was relevant, where you had to play hand traps in order to stop the loops. So I don't know.
Hand traps have definitely evolved through time, though. I think it's a new modern era of hand traps are typically in the most people's decks, unless they have a solid, like, strong going second answer deck, which is rarer these days, but floats back into metagames. But that is the finer details of the game. So thanks for joining, everybody, unless anybody has any last final notes.
Free Electromite, Konami.
Yes. I need to actually have playable pendulums in a TCG, please.
Yeah, I only came here in the open chat just to say free Electromite.
Ah, it's the Triff agenda, I see.
Yep.
Alright!
Triff Illuminati.
Well,
Zenmaity must be nice.
Thanks for joining today's roundtable. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. And if you'd like to be parts of these, as these fellow duelists have been, popping in, talking about their thoughts, join the live streams for the next one. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you around the next OCG ban list for one of these.